Da 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 da. Welcome to disenFRIENDSchised, where Karen Bulinski Mathison, that's me, of the Naked Grief, identifies disenfranchised grief one episode at a time through the lens of friends. Today we're breaking down season 1, episode 7, the one with the blackout. On the surface, this is a classic sitcom setup. The whole city loses power, no thanks to the cast of Mad About You, and everyone's stuck inside and chaos follows. But under the comedy, this episode is about connection and the grief that shows up when connection doesn't happen the way you needed it to. This one has 3 big grief threads. Chandler gets trapped in an ATM vestibule with Jill Goodacre. And we watch the grief of awkwardness, missed cues, and wanting to be seen. Ross realizes he might be in the friend zone, and we watch the grief of waiting too long, the grief of the moment passing. Rachel and Phoebe try to find the owner of a lost cat, and we see the grief of caretaking and the ache of this doesn't belong to me, but I'm responsible for it right now. And I'm going to try and add some coaching moments in between because this episode is basically a masterclass on what to do when your nervous system goes into panic around intimacy. And honestly, your nervous system can get heightened due to big events like a citywide blackout. So all of the friends are together minus Chandler when the blackout hits right as Phoebe is about to perform at Central Perk. She introduces a song about that moment when you suddenly realize what life is all about, strums one chord, and the power goes out. And then it cuts to Chandler. Chandler finding himself trapped in an ATM vestibule with Jill Goodacre, a Victoria's Secret model. And Chandler's internal monologue is basically a panic attack with jokes. He's thrilled, he's terrified, he's obsessing over the word vestibule. He's trying to be cool, and he's failing. And then Jill offers him gum, and he says no, and immediately regrets it. And we hear that dialogue in his head. When Jill Goodacre offers you gum, you say yes. Then he asks for it back, takes it, says gum would be perfection, and hates himself for how he said it. Then he accidentally spits it out, picks up gum to put back in his mouth, and starts choking because it's not the original gum. Jill saves his life with the Heimlich, and then after all that, once the power comes back, she kisses him and leaves. Chandler then talks to the security camera, asking for a copy of the tape. And here's the grief layer. Chandler isn't just awkward. He's grieving the fact that he doesn't know how to be himself when he wants something. He wants connection, but his nervous system reads connection as danger. So he performs. He jokes, he overthinks, and he spirals. At one point, him and Jill are sitting on the floor playing a game with the pen that's on the chain, trying to let the pen not hit them as they move their bodies around it. In that moment, he's actually being himself, and he's showing Jill who he really is without pretending. If he could have stayed that way the whole time, who knows what could have happened. So if you relate to Chandler here, try this. Name what's happening without shaming yourself. Instead of, I'm so awkward, try, I'm activated, I'm scared to be seen, I'm trying to protect myself. Because shame makes the spiral sometimes worse. And if you can't be smooth, be honest. A simple line like, I'm a little nervous, but I'm glad I'm stuck here with you, may have done more for Chandler than all the jokes in the world. So back at Monica's apartment, the gang is killing time by candlelight. Joey brings in a menorah. They start telling stories about the weirdest places they've ever had sex. And while it's played for laughs, there's a grief layer here too. Sex stories are often a way people prove they're desirable, experienced, chosen. Ross shares his story. Ross's strangest place was in Disney World on the Small World ride. The ride broke. Him and Carol got out. and they did it behind one of the scenes. They were asked to leave the park and never return again. And this really resonates because Rachel's story is the strangest place she ever did it was at the foot of the bed. And this is important to be mindful of because Rachel starts to grieve the fact that she hasn't had that passion, that in the moment, who cares what happens? I have to have you right here, right now. She's never experienced that. But then the story kind of pivots because of the mood of the night, because of the candlelight, because of the fact that they all just shared these intimate stories. Joey drops the bomb on Ross, and he tells Ross that he may have waited too long to make a move on Rachel and that he could be in the friend zone. Ross denies it, and Joey says, Ross, you're probably majorly in the zone, and this could be a missed opportunity. But what better time than now with the candlelight and everything to try? So Ross and Rachel go out on the balcony, and he's about to say something, and he thinks that Rachel knows what she's about to say because she's making all these ooh noises, but it's not anything to do with Ross. It's about a cat that's really cute hanging out above Ross's head. And once again, a spoiled moment, missed opportunity, the grief of not doing this sooner, not finding the words or the courage. And now it's funny because Ross is dancing on the balcony with this cat on his back and trying to get the cat off. And again, he's missed a moment. So if you're a Ross in your own life, if you're waiting to say the thing, stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is a myth. Say it imperfectly. Say it with consent. A line like, I don't want to make this weird, but I need to tell you I'm feeling something more than friendship is enough. And if the answer is no, you didn't ruin anything. You clarified reality. That's not failure. That's adulthood. But during the blackout, after this cat lands on Ross, Rachel and Phoebe start trying to find the owner. And they start knocking on all the neighbors' doors. Mr. Heckles lies and says it's his cat, and they see through it. And this is the caretaking grief that comes out. The feeling of being responsible for something that isn't yours. It's the emotional weight of holding a problem that you didn't create. And then they meet Paolo, the actual owner, who only speaks Italian, and he's beautiful. The girls are just drooling. Rachel brings him back to the apartment, can't keep her hands off of him, and Paolo is outright flirting with Rachel without speaking any English. And Ross is watching the whole thing, and he's watching his potential future slipping away in real time. And he's grieving the missed moment that he had not long ago out on the balcony. And now it's taken away because there's this new character in their midst. So caretaking grief shows up when you feel like you can't put the lost cat down. So here's the permission-based practice. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is, I can help, but I can't become responsible. That boundary is not selfish, it's survival. And here's the through line. The blackout forces everyone into the dark, literally and emotionally. And in the dark, the truth shows up. Chandler wants connection, but panics when he's seen. Ross wants Rachel, but hesitates until the moment's gone. Rachel's trying to build a new life, and Paolo represents a fast, easy option that doesn't require emotional risk and may even help Rachel overcome the grief of, I've never had that passion, that moment where somebody just wants to take me right now and not at the foot of the bed. This episode isn't just about a blackout. It's about what happens when you don't say what you need to say and what happens when someone else does. So when the power comes back on, Jill kisses Chandler and leaves. Ross loses his moment with Rachel, and Rachel meets Paolo, and they are locked in an embrace as soon as the power comes back. So the blackout ends, but the emotional consequences don't. So, naming that grief: awkward connection grief, missed opportunity grief, friend zone grief, caretaking grief, fear of rejection grief, and the grief of watching the moment pass. Not all grief comes from death. Job loss, career pivots, divorce, breakups, empty nests, moving, identity shifts, friendships ending, the loss of the life you thought you'd have. At The Naked Grief, we offer support communities that meet you where you are without pressure, toxic positivity, or having to explain why it hurts. What you'll find here: a private, judgment free space to process what's changed, practical tools, prompts, and guidance that you can use right away, multiple styles of support so you can choose what fits and switch if you need to, assessments that'll help you determine what you may need right now, a path to find your footing, one small step at a time. There's free resources, free ebooks, downloads. If you're not ready for therapy or one on one coaching, but you know you need something, The Naked Grief may be the right place for you to start. Until next time. Da 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 da.